Hi and welcome to my channel. Now today I've gone completely off topic again. I do apologise to my regular subscribers, but I thought I'd bring this to attention to a few people hopefully about upgrading your windows without spending a fortune and keeping the old frames, etc. Just replacing the rubbers, really, a few rubbers and tightening up a few screws may prolong the life of your windows. And in this case I bought an house recently. Reason I'm bringing the video to the channel really, and I've had to go around doing a few odd jobs here and there and whatever, and one of them I had to do, I haven't done them all yet, I've only done a couple of windows, but I thought I'd show you this window here, one I haven't really done. Just how you could improve, first of all, the draft coming through, because these are old, these windows, and you may have, if we just have a look at this window here, just for instance, I'm going to do a few different things, but you can see this is loose, so I'm going to show you how to tighten that up. They do go loose after a period of time. What I'm also going to show you in this video is how to replace this strip here. It's not a major strip, but you may have a strip a bit like this that's a little bit manky now, gone a bit off colour, that kind of thing. The rubber kind of perishes. But the main one here, the actual main thing of this video is to replace a strip of rubber which goes inside here. It's inside. I'll go around the other side in a minute and show you it, so don't panic. We're going to replace this strip inside here. Now, you may be saying, I can't see nothing, Mick. It's all, sun shining in my eyes. But when we get around the other side, hopefully that's going to change. Just wanted to show you this side for this latch here, but we're going to replace this bit of rubber here, and we're going to replace a bit of rubber that goes underneath the window there. I'll show you when we get around the other side. A bit of rubber that goes down the side of the window here, it goes down the side of the window here at the top, and also the other side, which you can't see my hands ratting about. So we're going to do the old frame basically, replacing a little rubber strip, and it's very inexpensive, this strip. Literally going to cost you roughly £10 a window, I would have said, depending on how many windows and how large your windows are, but probably a tenner a window. And you really are going to feel a benefit, trust me. You're going to have to trust me on this. Now, these rubbers are really pushed in now. They've been sitting there for 20 years or so. The window's been pushed against them, and they're flat as a pancake. But in theory, they should be just edging out a little bit. So when we shut the window, they make a good contact. No draft comes through, i.e. saving you some money in the long run. Also going to replace a few screws here as well that may have gone rusty. We're going to do that. They're fairly easy to do, just to keep them in top shape, save this bar moving around or rusting too much. But also replacing this adds another benefit. This really is a win-win situation. You hear about these win-wins, people saying win-win, and I really believe this is a win-win situation here, because not only are we cutting down draft, you're also going to cut down the noise. You'll be surprised, and I was very surprised with my front kitchen window. Not that it's really noisy around here, but especially at night when everything's quiet and you can hear a pin drop outside kind of thing. Replacing these rubbers, I was getting a little bit of background noise, totally eliminated. We're near enough totally eliminated. I won't go so far as totally, but it really did knock it down, probably 80 or 90%, just replacing these rubbers, because obviously if a draft's coming through, then sound comes through as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is concentrate on this latch here as we're inside. So let me just show you how to tighten this latch up. It's really easy. Again, I apologise for the glare, just the way it is. I can't really do much about it. But this is loose, so what we're going to do is tighten this up. And it's a fairly straightforward job, really. We've got 2 screws at the top and 2 screws at the bottom on this latch. On your latch, you may just have 1 screw at the top, 1 screw at the bottom. I'll show you another latch in a minute that's just got the 1 screw. So yeah, we're just going to tighten them up really, and they've usually got little covers over them, a little bit of plastic. You probably can't see it here, but it's going to be a bit awkward because the camera's in the way, but I'm going to try and remove them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the window shut, and as you can see, it's still loose there, that window. You may be able to see it hopefully with the light, but we're going to take these covers off, just a little plastic cover on the top. If I move it out of the way, and there's usually one on the bottom as well, maybe a bit awkward. There are we. Just got to get your fingernail or screwdriver in there. My fingernail usually does it. And there you go, 2 little covers. And it's just a matter of tightening these screws up. But don't go mad. Just do them so they're tight. Don't overdo them, because they're going into this plastic UVPC. And they can start shearing, if you know what I mean, the plastic. So just tight enough, top and bottom. And these did take quite a bit of turning actually. You may have to do it a quarter of a turn, half a turn, but these are taking nearly a turn, these. So there we go, we put them on there, and as you can see, that rattling has now stopped. That is nice and solid contact. So there you go. Now what you're going to notice when we do, obviously put the covers back, but when we do replace these rubbers here at the bottom, now when you close your window at the moment, you may just have a little bit of give. You may have a little bit of give there. Your window may just rattle very slightly. When you come to replace these rubbers, you're going to pull it in like that, and you're going to find this really hard to push back into place. Now, depending what kind of latch you've got, they're all kind of different, but generally speaking, wherever you shut it, you're going to pull it back, you're going to think that's quite tight, Mick. So what you've got to do is as you put it tight first of all, just get that rubber in, settled in kind of thing, then put it, and it's going to stay tight, and it's going to stop all the draft and all the noise coming in. So it really is, like I say, a win-win situation. So now we're going to go around the other side. Well, actually, I'm going to show you another latch just very quickly with the one screw. I'll just quickly nip upstairs and show you a different window I've got here. And then we're going to go around the other side and replace the main bit of rubber you want to replace. You can replace this, like I say, it's no problem. It's not essential. It's just, as long as it's okay and it's not got a gap in it or anything like that. But you may just want to tidy that up all the way around the window. But we really want to do them outside rubbers and them inside rubbers because that's going to really make the difference. Just quickly upstairs and show you a different latch. Okay, hopefully you can get this. Camera work's not to be fantastic because as you can see I've got a different latch on this window and we've got a screw at the top that's covered up at the moment and I've undone the cover at the bottom and there's the screw. So if this one was loose, just undo the covers, flick them off with your fingernail, a screwdriver, something like that, and just give them 2 screws a tighten. Right, I'm outside. As you can see, the windows still need a little bit of work. Some paint he's managed to get over and God knows what else, but I'll get all that off eventually. Right, okay, so now we're taking the rubber out. That just get your fingernail underneath and give it a pull. It will come out. Keep this rubber just in case the bit of rubber you've got is not the correct one. You can always put this back, so it's no problem. You're going to give it a little cut though, but it's no problem. You just easily put it back if it's the wrong one you've bought. So don't just sling this away. So just give it a little cut. We're going to discard that piece of rubber. I'm going to measure it up against a new piece of rubber. I'm probably going to make it about 1 inch longer than what it should be, so I can always cut it. Best to have it just a bit too long than not long enough. So now I'm going to put the new piece in, but I'm going to show you that this new piece, you must put it in the way you got the old piece out. So remember how you got the old piece out. So let's go in here now. I'm just going to show you it one way of fitting it. Now this kind of clips into the window ridge. I'll just show you a picture of that, what I mean. And as you can see, it's kind of got a little thing, looks like an house roof kind of thing sticking out the back of it, and that slides in the ridge as indicated by the red arrows. So them green arrows on the picture of the actual rubber show you kind of like a little house, a little clip kind of thing made out of rubber, and that clips into the ridge in your window frame shown by the red arrows. So there's me clipping it in. I'm just showing you now that the top of it is that way round. And if we spin it round, you'll see that the flap goes the other way round. You may just want to rewind that to see what I'm trying to say. Now when I put it in this way, the flap's towards the bottom where the flap was towards the top. So we want to make sure we put it in the same way that we got it out. In this case, it's the other way round with the flap towards the top. Just make a note of that when you're taking your piece out. And they're just going to clip in that little kind of roof thing, clips in to the window ridge. Just move that one out of the way, I think, but anyway, I'm just doing it quickly on camera. Obviously do it a lot slower than me, but it doesn't take long. As you can see now, you're going to have to go right along it now with your finger and push every bit in so it's all pushed in. It would hold in there correctly. Like I say, if you've got the wrong one, it's too loose or it falls out, put the old unit back in there until you get another new piece. But there you go. So it didn't take long at all, and we're going to take that bit out and replace that at some stage, but for the time being, that's one bit replaced, and all you've got to do is do the other 3 sides, the 2 sides and the top. So that's that window done. Okay, I've come to another window now. As you can see, it's caked in rubbish, bits and pieces in there. Give it a good brush out, give it a clean with a cloth. I haven't done it here, I'm just showing you what kind of state it can be. Get a brush in there, get all the dust out, all the leaves, anything like that. As you can see, I've still got a bit of work to do on that corner, but that's another thing, don't worry about that, I'll sort that out later. Yeah, so this is the undersill now. This is the second part that we need to replace, actually on the window itself, actually on the opening bit itself, rather than the bit around the frame. This is the other bit that marries up with that, and that just pulls off, exactly the same kind of connection, and you just take that completely off and replace it with a new piece, which I've already done here, and just push it all back in. So that's exactly the same really, part that is on the actual window rather than the frame, so them 2 bits actually marry up when you close the window. Right, just want to touch on this part of the window here. This sill here is not a sill I can do today. It's not an easy sill. It's not a sill I recommend, because you have to go inside and ping this out, this surround, this plastic surround, this UVPC surround, ping it out and take the window out. It kind of clips in underneath the actual panel, this sill here. So if this is in trouble, then it's best to get someone to come around and do it yourself. But in most cases this is fine, because it's got no pressure against it of such. A little bit, but not a lot. It's just held in there, where these actual here, this here has got pressure against it all the time. So we replace this bottom one, as you can see. Obviously the rest of the window to do yet. Okay, now we're in the bathroom. Yeah, sorry I had to cut the sound outside. I just got cars going up and down. The typical one on a film, someone's going to go up and down in their car, doing something, a bit of banging and clanging, someone mending something, I think. But back indoors, this is the other bit you can also replace, but really it's mainly the outside bit. But as you can see, this is groggy. Been here about 20 years probably. You give it a clean, obviously, go around and give it a clean, but the rubber kind of wear. So you can replace this if you want, especially if you've got bits maybe sticking up like this, not seated properly, and you can't push it back in, that kind of stuff. So you can replace that. It's a different kit probably, so then again, go back on eBay and try and buy one of these little kits, 99p, that gives you a sample of all the different ones. And this is straightforward, so what we're going to do is pretty much the same as we did outside. What basically this is do us a favour, this sticking up, is pull it out like that. And there you go, and we're just going to put it all the way across. You're going to get a few bits and pieces come up. Okay, you can have all the dirt in there and everything, so we're going to pull that up, should come to the end, and there it is, it falls out. Don't take them all, 4 of them out at once, because obviously it's one around the side and one around the top as well, like that. Just do one at a time, and just give that a little clean, give it a brush. You may want to go along with your nail or something like that and get all that grog out of the way for it there, but I ain't going to do that now, obviously. Just going to show you how to put the bit, but as you can see, I've cleaned that up a little bit there to all the grog that's on this side and the other side of it. So you can clean that up, you can go along the window and give that a little clean. Try and keep that black piece of cloth that's there probably in place. It may just fray a bit, but don't worry too much about that. Okay, so all we've got to do is get our new bit and pretty much measure it up against the bit that's already in there. Maybe go an inch bigger or something like that. So when we come to fit it, it's not going to be too short. We can kind of judge how far it is out at the end, an inch, like an inch sticking out, and we can cut that inch or 3/4 inch off until we get it to be the exact size. So let's cut our little bit off. Okay, so we're taking our old bit out. I'll pan the camera back a bit as well. When I've got this bit here that kind of fits in quite snugly as it happens, you're going to get that little sample pack. They're about this long each sample. Where are we? 4 or 5 inches long. Just push them in there and see which one fits the best, or try and match it up with the one you got. You may not get an exact match, and an idea maybe just to wet this a little bit to make it nice and easy. Make sure this window's nice and clean, which isn't here really, but I'm just going to show you very quickly on my window here. We've cut this about an inch too long, something like that as well, and what you can do is just run it underneath the tap in the corner to start it off, just to make it a little bit wet, a little bit moist, a bit of fairy liquid, something like that. And we're going to have this green side here, rubber side against the window, green side against the wooden frame. So that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to give that a go. You find the corners quite tough to put in. They're the corners that seem to keep the shape the best. So we'll start pushing it in. The corner will go in, not too, don't push too tight, but just tight enough. And once we get it going, as you can see, we will get it in there, and it'll fit all nicely right away along. So let's carry on. We've got a little bit of, get me scissors, a little bit of fraying going on here, but you don't want to give it a good clean really. I'm just quickly doing this just to show you it quickly, but you give it all a good clean, like I say. Just push it down fairly firmly. Don't, if it's too tight, you can't push it down, and it's too big, the bit you're using in there. So get a smaller piece, slightly thinner piece. As you can see, I've gone about an inch too big. So I'm going to try and measure that where it is about there. Obviously you be a bit more precise. And there you go. Now what you may find, it must be just a little bit sticking up there like it was previously, but maybe it's a bit of dirt underneath there I haven't cleaned out because I've literally just done it straight away. But what you will find is when you get this, you can have a few bits, just need seating down a little bit more. There you go. You may get a few bits that are kind of bowed because it's all been wrapped up in a coil. May just want to straighten it out first of all for a little bit. Still not happy with that. Oh, that's better. It's clicked in a little bit more there. That's it. So there you go. Leave a little bit of a mess, but as you can see, actually it happens, you couldn't see. I was feeling about down this end, this bit won't go in properly. You couldn't see that. Sorry, I forgot the camera didn't show everything. But yeah, so it's all in there now nicely, but obviously I haven't cleaned up properly, so that'll sit just a little bit better where it does along here somewhere where I've cleaned it. Down here sits nicely where I've cleaned it, so you've got a good strong grip. Like I say, make sure you don't put the bit in there that's far too big. It takes a bit of pushing in. A little drop of water on there does help. I mean, you can glue these in as well. You can put a bit of glue on there if you wanted to, but there's no need to. I don't think this sits in there nicely. And there you go. So that's that window done. it doesn't really stop any draft or anything like that, because the other bit basically was just dirty. The main draft is, if we look at this window here, if I can just pan it up a bit, the main draft actually comes from here, where I'd have to change this inside rubber, which I already have done, and the rubber, if we can get it right at the top there. I'm not too sure if you're seeing everything now, but there is a rubber at the top and a rubber at the back there as well, which I've already changed. But I couldn't show you that because we're upstairs, and I need a ladder or something like that. But okay, one last thing we want to do is replace these screws if they've gone rusty. You've got a screw here on these shutters, these kind of like brackets, these opening brackets, closing brackets, and you're going to have the same at the top of the window as well. If we pan up the top, you probably can't see it, but there's a bracket up there as well. You may have some on the side of your window or other places, but just check these screws to see if they've gone rusty or not. If they've gone rusty, then eventually they could probably snap, and leave just a bit of the screws tucked in there that you're going to have a bit of a problem getting out, and these fixtures may start wobbling a bit. So it's not a bad idea for what they cost to replace these screws. The easiest way is just to take one screw out, only one screw, because if you take them all out, this is going to start wobbling about everywhere, and you may have a bit of aggro put it all back together. So just take one screw out, put it down, measure it, and I'll put a link at the top there, not at the top, of the bottom in the description, of where to look for, maybe on eBay, to get one of these, a pack of these, probably 50, they're not that expensive, and go around and do all the opening and shutters, the opening and closing brackets, just replacing them screws. Obviously just take one out at a time, and once you've got your new one, just pop it in there and replace it. Don't do it up too tight, just tight enough. Don't overdo it, don't forget you're just going into a bit of UVPC. It's not going to be strong. You could quite easily over tighten and start threading the screw kind of thing. Okay, so that's the screws done.